Hello and welcome to Relationship Soup. I'm your host, Lisa Hughes. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. How are y'all doing today? How was your weekend, y'all? How was your week? How's your year? Y'all year still going good? I hope it is. Well, anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for joining me. Y'all know that I appreciate you. And I just want to thank every single one of y'all for pulling up. So whether you're watching us live on Facebook, catching us on YouTube, or listening to a replay, I see you, I love you, and I appreciate you. So anyway, you already know tonight's show is going to be a chef's kiss. But before I get there, y'all know I got some conversation I need to have before we do that. So you already know this show is going to work like my other shows. If you have comments, questions, or whatever, please feel free to put those in the chat and I will bring those on. If you're here, let me know that y'all are here. All right. All right, so let me go ahead and get into this thing. All right, so y'all already know. Y'all should be liking, subscribing across all platforms. On YouTube, it's Relationship Soup, period. You got to put the period or you're going to be somewhere else. If you want to join the forum, it's Relationship Soup Group. That's the forum on Facebook. Y'all get in there. I just giggle because it's the stuff that's in there sometimes is hilarious. If you want to follow me, it's Relationship Soup LLC. All right, and y'all already know where I'm going. Hello, me. This is my 100-page picture affirmation book for children. It is a book full of positivity and beautiful pictures and illustrations that are going to help that special child or children in your life to have a positive sense of self, y'all, because y'all already know how important that is in today's world. So get you a copy of Hello Me, even if it's for you or a special child in your life. Feel free to do that. You can get this on Amazon. You can reach out to me. It's on Apple Kindle. I got paperback. I got ebook, all of that. And you can also go to our local children's museum here in Indianapolis and get you a copy there. All right. All right. So y'all, let me go ahead and get into today's show. Let me see here. Okay. I see there's a couple people in the audience. I see you. I see you. Jay Desiree, you do not miss, right? Rain, shine, sleet, or snow, live or not, you here, and I appreciate that. And I love you so much. Thank you so much, cousin. I appreciate you. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. Thank you so much, Tonality Records. I appreciate you. Kimberly Kimmy Weeks. Thank you so much, beautiful. I appreciate you for joining me. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and get into today's show. Now, again, I just want to thank y'all so much for joining me because y'all know on Relationship Soup, we believe that everybody has a story to tell because everything starts with the relationship, whether it's relationship with self, relationship with family, purpose, all that. We covering all of that, right? And y'all already know that each week we sit down with some remarkable people and we have remarkable conversations that remind us what shapes our lives, right? We're planting seeds because I believe that we all go through something and it's meant for us to help others, to plant seeds to help others, right? That's just my belief anyway. You ain't got to agree with it. But that's just what we do here on the Soup. Now, before we begin tonight's conversation, I'd like to mention that while today's episode is going to concentrate on prostate cancer awareness, it's also a conversation about hope, prevention, and the importance of having very honest conversations, right, with the people that we love. Now, let me give this disclaimer. Okay, y'all know I'll be giving these disclaimers. If you have questions or concerns about your health, okay, please, I encourage you to speak to your healthcare provider, right? Our goal tonight is to simply inspire conversations, to start the conversations, or to continue to have them if you already are having them. That can truly make a difference. Now I got that out of the way. Tonight's guests are two men who look beyond themselves. They saw a need in the community. And rather than asking, what isn't someone doing about this, they were like, you know what can we do about this? And so that question became a mission. And the mission became Blue versus Blue Cancer Awareness. Because behind every awareness campaign, behind every community event, and behind every movement to create change are relationships. Am I lying? I ain't lying. I'm telling the truth. There's relationships with family. There's relationship with friends. There's relationships with survivors, relationships with caregivers, and most importantly, our relationship with our own health. Okay. So tonight we're going to go beyond the statistics. We're going beyond the awareness campaigns to discover the personal stories that inspired this movement, the friendships that strengthened it, and the hope that continues to drive it forward. So please, 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 please Join me in welcoming my two guests. I have James Smith, and then I have Deon Harris. How y'all doing today?
Doing good. Doing well.
Doing good. Doing good.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank y'all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate y'all. All right. So, now before we get into the meat and the potatoes, if you will, right? I love for our listeners to get to know more about the men behind the mission, right? Because every movement has a beginning and every story begins with a relationship, right? So, can you tell us a little bit about you?
You want to go first, Dick?
Go ahead, brother.
I'm James Smith. I'm one of the co-founders of Blue versus Blue, and I'm a 7-year prostate cancer survivor. I spent 18 years in the NFL as an executive, as well as 28 years in law enforcement.
Okay. All right.
I'm Deon Harris, 12 years prostate cancer survivor. Served 10 years in the United States Army and 19 years on Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your service. I appreciate that. So how did the two of you first meet?
Through work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because y'all both were on the police department.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Could have guessed that. All right. All right. So, what was the foundation of your friendship? Was it just work? What was the total foundation of your friendship? Because y'all just didn't become friends. Y'all just met on the job, but y'all are obviously friends and partners, right?
Correct. We met on the job, just in passing some training, different classes, and I would see James, and we just started talking. I think it was one of those vacation club things where we kind of,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it was a vacation club where we kind of really came together and just started talking more, just outside of the job.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now, looking back, what relationship shaped each of you growing up? Relationship shaped each of you growing up?
Ooh.
I would say
I
the
would
relationship
say,
with my mother.
yeah, I think for me, the relationship that shaped me was with my father.
Mhm.
He was a big influence on me as far as how I conducted myself, and yeah, that was huge for me.
Okay. Okay. So, who taught you the importance of serving others? Would it be that those same individuals?
Yeah, for
Yes.
me, it would be.
Mhm.
My mom is big on serving people. She continues to do that to this day. But my dad raised me going from my grandmother's neighbors, cutting their grass, trimming their bushes, and all of that stuff, and he wouldn't let me charge them for it.
Mhm.
It was all about the service part of it.
Okay. All righty. I love that. Um, if I asked your family to describe you in 3 words, what would they say? James, you know why I'm giggling. You know who came to my mind.
um,
In three
it
words,
would be
describe you.
leader, um, faithful, and busy.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I would say leader, a giver, but my kids tell me all the time that I'm very forgetful. So yeah, like I said, I can't remember anything. So
Okay. All right. All righty. So sometimes friendships become partnerships and sometimes partnerships become purpose. Okay. So, blue versus blue didn't just appear in one day. It's something that happened and someone mattered. So, tell us a story behind Blue versus Blue. What inspired you to create this organization?
When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2014, basically I was 38 years old. Um, I felt alone and I didn't have any resources and nobody to talk to about what I was going through. Um, I was working in on the east side of town, Indianapolis, one of the worstest areas during night for day shift and night shift.
Mhm.
And I just started thinking about how many other men are going through uh, this disease alone, with no type of resource, no communication. And then my supervisors, nobody on the job understood what I was going through. Um, so then I started just thinking about, the color law enforcement is blue, and then prostate cancer is blue,
Mhm.
and that's where the name was established. And I found out that James had prostate cancer, so I started telling him, "Man, it's someone I want to talk to you about." And we came together and just started this organization.
I love that.
Yeah. There's a funny story behind that because when he found out that I had it, he caught up with me. He said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about prostate cancer, man." He said, "I heard you have it." I said, "Yeah, I have it." He said, "So let's get together and talk." And I said, "Okay, that sounds like a plan."
Mhm.
So we had that same plan for like 3 years. He chased me around. We would run into each other and be like, "Hey, man, I need to talk to you about that." Okay, let's get together. But we never really got together. And then 3 years later, we ended up getting together. And here's where we are.
I love it. I love it. So, looking back, do you believe God was preparing you for this work before you even realized it?
Oh, yes, definitely. It's interesting because the men who started Blue versus Blue, we all had a connection in the sense that we were all police officers and um, retired police officers. And what was funny is my cousin Ed recruited all of us
Mhm.
on the police department. And then for us to all come together with this mission of prostate cancer awareness, having all been survivors, was pretty much God knew what was happening long before we did.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely.
So basically, like he said, his cousin Ed recruited there's four of us. Everybody he recruited had ended up with prostate cancer. We was all on the law enforcement, all on police department. And
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So, one thing that we've learned on Relationship Soup and just even in life, that men often carry burdens quietly. So, let's talk about that a little bit. Why do you think some men avoid talking about their health?
Um, I would say mostly because what my doctor told me. She said when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, it's
Mhm.
time to pull the S off your chest. We carry a lot.
Mhm.
Um, we're looked to for protection. We're looked to be the strength, to be the providers, to be the protectors. So we're conditioned from a young age to stand in that role. And so the other thing that I would say is ego,
Mhm.
machoism. Those are two things that um, keep us from talking about the things that we should talk about.
Mhm. Okay, that makes sense. Um, what myths do you wish people would stop believing?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What myths do you wish people would stop believing?
When it comes to prostate cancer or just
Whether it's prostate cancer, men's health in general, speaking about your health in general, what myths do you wish people would stop believing?
um I'm not sure if I was someone to say a myth, but one thing I would like to say is we can take our health into our own control.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's something that James and I push. Uh, like you are in charge of your health, and these are ways where you can then advocate for yourself, and as also treat whatever the doctor has told you or diagnosed you with. Um, every diagnosis does not mean that's the end. There's
Mm-hmm.
things that we can do on our end to help us heal ourselves, along with following some of the things, if not all, of the instruction from our physicians.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense.
And then I would also say that the myth about doctors always being out to get us. Most men don't go to the doctor because they're scared that the doctor's trying to get them. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we've had things in the past, in our past history of this country, of doctors doing black men wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But we've come a long way since then. And like Deon said, we can now do the research to know if what the doctor's telling us is the right thing for us. And if you're not comfortable with that doctor, go to a different doctor.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that we can do to take control of our health. And we need to go to the doctor. We need to get checked up.
Absolutely, absolutely. This makes me think of a conversation that I had with my late father before he passed. Everybody knows that watches the show that my father
Sorry.
passed in 2023. Thank you. And my father was one of those men. He was a man's man. Okay, even at 70, he still had the six pack, the muscles. He's getting on the roof. He's doing all of this. But my father did not really go to the doctor. He went every once in a while or whatever. And so when we were in the hospital, I remember the doctor saying, well, if you had to just did this, early on, we could have prevented this. Right. And so one thing my father said before passing, a few days before he passed away is like, just go to the doctor. Right. So he had that realization. So, us talking about that definitely just brought that back to the forefront for me, and the importance of having those conversations and going to the doctor and getting past some of those
Right.
stigmas, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
because we know what America has done, you know, like,
Right.
so. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. So, what are some signs that people should never ignore? Just from your experience, what are some signs people should never ignore?
Listen to your body.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your
Listen to
body
your
will
body.
definitely tell you when something's wrong. And pain is an indicator. It's not the be all, but it is an indicator that something's off.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like he said, listen to your body.
Okay, okay. So, what would your advice be to like spouses, children, siblings, and friends to encourage the men that they love to get screened? What would be some advice for you that you would give to help them to encourage the men that they love to get screened?
Hmm. You want to go, D?
Yeah, I would say that when when someone is dealing with a diagnosis such as cancer, it's not just that individual that's affected by that.
Mhm,
It's the whole household. It's everybody that's attached to that individual. So how I would answer that question is I would encourage for each of us to, not just with prostate cancer, for the men to encourage their wives to stay on top of their exams, and the wives to encourage their husbands or significant others to make sure that you're staying on top of your exams. Because sometimes as men, um, we don't want to go, and it could be because, like James started, I'm gonna speak for him a little bit. Sometimes we just do not want to know what the outcome is. And I'm guilty of that as well. But he verbally said that earlier today, so I'm just using that. Uh, Sometimes we don't want to know. So we think if we just ignore it, that it's going to go away, but it's not.
mhm,
Mm-hmm. And to expand on what he was saying, when when it came time for me to start getting tested, my doctor was like, "Hey, you need to start getting screened for prostate cancer." And be it, misinformation or stigma, I was like, "Doc, I don't want to know." I'm like, if I don't know, it doesn't exist. A juvenile thought, but that's kind of where my mindset was at the time. And I was 40 years old. I'm like, I have no symptoms. I'm good. And in the back of my mind, I always think about like when people find out that they have something, they're perfectly fine up until that point, and then they find out they have something, and the next thing you know, they're gone. And so I was just like, I didn't want to know. I'm like, if it takes me out, it takes me out. I'm good. I just, as long as it doesn't, mess with the quality of life that I'm living right now. And that was so ignorant in thinking. And so I'm glad, and I thank my doctor all the time, but she dealt with that for 5 years. But when I turned 45, she didn't give me a choice. And, not knowing, and the thing about it, not knowing that both my father and my grandfather had prostate cancer. So I was very likely to get it myself.
Okay. All right. So that's actually leading me into the next topic, because sometimes one conversation can truly save a life. So thank you both again, because I feel like this conversation is going to speak to someone. So and as Deon basically said, that basically when someone receives a cancer diagnosis, it doesn't just affect one person, it affects those that love them. So that's basically where I want to go now. So what does genuine support look like? What did it look like when you were diagnosed?
I think Deon said this earlier when we were talking. It looks like patience. When you're diagnosed with this and you're going through everything, there is a lot to process, and not just for you. As you're going through it, your whole family's going through it with you. But I think patience being that key word, you've got to have patience with them because they don't fully understand what you're going through. And then they've got to have patience with you for the exact same reason. When you start trying to process what life will look like after prostate cancer, it's different. And it can hit you in a lot of ways. There are a lot of things that you have to deal with after the cancer. After it's like, he's healed. There's no more cancer. Cancer-free celebration. But even after the celebration, there's different things that your body is still going through, trying to adjust. I guess the new norm. It begins that new norm.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, so you both have children, am I correct?
Yes.
Correct.
So how did your children take the diagnosis? Like, what was their experience like? Because we kind of touched on the spouses a little bit, but
My kids were young at the time, 9 and 13.
okay.
My 9-year-old was just kind of, she didn't know what was going on. But my 13-year-old, I'm sure she was worried, but at the same time, she thought that cancer meant death. And I had explained to her that's not what this is going to be, and not in this circumstance.
And my kids were grown at the time, and I think my oldest probably took it the best. She processed it, and she just kind of continued about her normal day to day, but she was still very supportive. My middle daughter, she locked in. She was like surprising me in a lot of ways because she's pretty laid back and smooth going, but she locked in. She was, I called her Nurse Betty because she was right by my side, constantly making sure that I was taking my medicine, making sure that I was getting my necessarily walks in. And she was like on point. She even screened my visitors at the hospital. So,
Oh, I
I
love it.
mean, my kids really locked in and they surprised me. They took charge.
I love that. I love that. So, what did your caregivers teach you about strength?
Mm. Strength can look differently in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because prior to that, I don't think I was ever fully emotional in front of my kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had moments where I felt depressed. I had moments where I felt angry and I let it show.
Mm-hmm.
And so it didn't mean that I wasn't strong, but at that point I couldn't carry the weight. And so I had to lean on them to carry the weight for me. And when I say my family had my back, from my mom to my brothers, everybody had my back. And it was um, it was humbling, but at the same time, it was empowering
Mm-hmm.
because I knew that I didn't have to carry the ball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, so let me do this. So, one thing I admire about Blue versus Blue is that you've created more than awareness. You've built a community. Okay. So, what has surprised you most since launching Blue versus Blue? What has surprised y'all the most?
Uh, I would say the men coming together and having the real uncut conversations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To see men open up the way that we have been blessed with the opportunity to have the conversations. Um, it's been it was the whole purpose of why we started was the support, and then it just went out to the awareness and everything else. Just the conversation, men talking.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. So, can you share a story that stayed with you?
Along this journey, or I mean,
Well, just since you've that's fine. Along this journey, since you've created the organization, is there a particular story that has stayed with you?
hmm,
Hmm.
y- yeah,
There's a lot, but you got to be
yeah.
careful what you share because a
Oh,
lot of guys
absolutely.
share
But
things in confidence.
Okay.
I share
Um,
one. Um,
Go ahead, bro.
and J, you can share one too. Uh, it's during my time of the Why Me. There's several things that happened during that time to make me stop saying the Why Me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is something I forgot to talk about earlier, James. There's a guy that he ended up with prostate cancer. He got in when he was 59.
Mm-hmm.
His story to me made me get out of my pity. Because he's bedridden because the cancer got into his spine,
Mm.
and he can't move. So he's bedridden, and he also has to do chemo once a month to keep the cancer from spreading.
Oh,
So hearing his story
mm-hmm.
gave me the I had to get up and get my strength and dust myself off and I was done with the well, not completely done, but I was it started me moving forward. And when you had, unfortunately, during this journey, James and I have heard some good stories,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
we have had heard a lot of bad stories.
Mm-hmm.
But that story has always stayed in my mind. Um, and then maybe because it hit me at my early time frame when I felt like I was at my bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what something I would say has stayed with me.
Okay.
I think one that actually happened recently. Um, one of the members of my church, he is 80, 82 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he had prostate cancer in his early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So he's lived quite a few years with it in remission. And um, when I spoke at my church probably about a month ago, he came to me and he stated that, his cancer had come back and he didn't know if he wanted to try to fight it.
Mm.
And just the conversation that I had with the church and my transparency with them um, made him realize that it's not just about him; it's about his family, and um, he was going to see his doctor. So
Mm-hmm.
I can say that that's probably one that will stick with me for a long time, and knowing that we're on the right path.
I love that. Okay. All right. So how can someone become involved with Blue versus Blue?
Oh, that's easy. You can go to our website
Mm-hmm.
at blueversusblue.org and you can click on the link that says supporter
Mm-hmm.
and you can sign up. You can sign up to be a supporter, a volunteer, or um, just come out to our events.
Mm-hmm.
We have our events listed on the website. You can come out to our events and just see where you fit in, and we can find a spot for you. There's always something to do in awareness,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's handing out flyers or just talking to people or just making people feel like they belong. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with a disease like this, you're in a space sometimes where you don't know where you fit in
Mm-hmm.
or what tomorrow is going to look like. So having somebody there that just is willing to talk to you or help you or help direct you in the direction that you need to go means a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what does success look like for Blue versus Blue? What does success look like for y'all?
I would say when men are first when things are changed for as the testing, meaning the age limit. So when they're testing men, um, if you look at the death rates when it comes to black men compared to anybody else, we have a higher death rate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So James and I would like to see a change in uh, the age requirements uh, when
Mhm.
prostate cancer becomes a topic, the way breast cancer is discussed,
Mm-hmm.
uh, when it's in the headlines, when we see sports teams advertising it, um, and when our community is starting the conversation amongst each other. Um, we talk about one day I went in the barbershop and I've been saying barbershop for years. I was like, man, this is all y'all do when we in here is watch ESPN and talk about gossip.
Mm-hmm.
When I would love the day when I go into the barbershop and what we're talking about is uplifting each other in ways to prolong our lives and give us more healthier outcomes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. So we do have a comment. Let's see here. So Tonality Records says, I started getting prostate screening in my late 20s and early 30s because I've had men and women in my family affected by cancer, even into their demise.
That's awesome, man. To be able to start testing that early
Mhm.
is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And I'm glad he said women, because what a lot of people are not aware of, even for the women, when women are diagnosed with breast cancer and prostate cancer are in direct correlation with each other. So if someone in your family has breast cancer, there is a possibility for you to be affected by prostate cancer, and vice versa. So it's definitely something to be aware of.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So where do you hope Blue versus Blue will be 5 years from now?
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Look, there's some things that we want to talk about that we said we were going to wait to talk about.
Well, you know what?
We'll
That's fine.
hold off on that. But
Yeah.
I would say that we are recognizing the community for bringing prostate cancer awareness in multiple different ways, that we have achieved at least 70% of our current goals. 75% of those. I think that's kind of where I see us in 5 years, but really making a dent in the effort to get the word out about prostate cancer.
I love it.
May I add to that?
Absolutely.
The Susan G. Komen, but Blue versus Blue for prostate cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see us as recognized as much as that organization is for breast cancer, but for our efforts and what we're trying to do in our community, that we are recognized the same.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so let's see here. Before I move into our next topic, there is another comment that I want to bring up. So Tonality Record says it's imperative as Black men that we take our health seriously. We are programmed to man up and go through life in ignorance with a manufactured bliss. Okay.
Yeah, he's totally right about that. I think that's kind of like what Deon was touching on. In as far as taking control of your health, he's one of those people that I admire in knowing that he didn't have to just take the diagnosis of what the doctor gave him and say that this is it. He was able to make some changes within his life as far as his diet. A lot of times we don't think about what we put in our bodies, and a lot of what we deal with as far as illnesses is a direct effect of what we're putting into our bodies. So he's eating healthy, he's exercising, he's doing the things that make a difference. And we had a meeting earlier with his doctor, and his doctor was just blown away at the changes that he's made to make himself better. So yeah, we definitely have the ability to take control of our health and be responsible for our health. He said health is wealth. It is.
Absolutely.
In the greatest sense.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Absolutely. May I ask, and if you feel comfortable divulging, like you talked about some of the things that Deon is doing, is any of that like holistic, like with herbal and things like that? Is that something that you've incorporated? And if you feel comfortable, if you don't, that is totally fine, because I know that there has been a move. I know all up and down my timeline, I'm seeing all of these different, natural and herbal remedies and stuff like that. So is that in your regimen at all, Deon? Do you feel comfortable divulging that?
Oh yes, I mean I'm an open book, so whatever it is that I'll share it. But not just yes, I do herbs. I just have a mixture that I have put together. Um, but I also do a lot of juicing. Um, fresh. If it, like I was speaking earlier, if it doesn't have dirt on it and it didn't come from the earth, I don't want it. Now, am I
Mm,
perfect? Do I cheat sometimes? I do. Uh, but I like to wash my food off and get the dirt off of it, and then I juice it. I try to eat as much as I can. What they have here in the States, fruits that have the seeds in them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a lot of those, unfortunately, anymore. Um, but so yes, but I do some herbs. Some teas, herb teas that I have made up, and it's just something I put together. I just did some research on herbs that possibly can fight cancer. And what I learned is mucus and inflammation in your body is a danger zone. So what I have tried to do is just use things to flush out mucus and inflammation out of my body and keep the foods out of my body that causes mucus and inflammation.
Mm-hmm. Those more
Yeah.
acidic foods. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
mhm.
Absolutely. I saw
Just simple stuff.
okay. I saw you holding your cup up, James. What's in your cup?
Yeah, that's that blood detox tea right there, man. So I'm following in my brother's footsteps, trying to get myself right.
I love it. I love it. All righty. So let's move on to purpose because I love talking about purpose. What has this journey taught each of you about yourselves? I know we kind of sprinkled it in there. It was kind of sprinkled in there a little bit, but what has this journey taught you about yourselves?
That's a good question. What has taught me about myself?
What you done learned about yourself, Deon?
Mm. I would say for me, I'm stronger than I thought I was,
Mm-hmm,
and that the mission is bigger than me. Those would be two things that I could definitely say that I've learned throughout this.
mm-hmm.
I agree with James. It's not easy doing this, but it's enjoyable, yes. But we have some. It's a struggle on some things. So yes, it has let me recognize some things where I thought I was strong in, but or weak in, but I'm stronger in those areas. The push that this organization has given me. Even in the takes James sometimes to kind of like me just got to believe, and things may not seem like they're going in the right way, but when they do, I just got this look that I give him, and he'll just look at me, and it just a look like we did that. So it has taught me uh, to have a lot of patience, um, and to just believe in what we're doing, and it shall come to pass.
I love that. I love that. So when it gets emotionally heavy for you, where do you find strength? Where does your strength come from? When it gets heavy, when it gets overwhelming, where do you find strength?
In the
I would,
word, man.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the word. No matter what we face in life, it's already been lived long before us. It's already been printed, and everybody has their own religious beliefs and philosophies. But I was raised in the word, and I will always go back to the word.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I do have another question. So what gives you hope for the future?
Who asked that earlier today? uh,
We share notes. See.
I think for me, hope is seeing the new technology that's out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Men being able to be cured of prostate cancer without even having to be operated on in the sense of being cut open. There new technology out here to where they can. We just found out about the radiation from the doctor earlier. They can basically send it into your bloodstream, and it can go directly to the cancer, so that they don't actually have to do the radiation and burn up everything in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's so much that's being developed out here. There's so much new technology and research that's happening. So I'm I'm hopeful in the future that, men will be able to be cured from prostate cancer without even having to go through the things that we went through.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let me get away from some of the earlier questions and really get to the heart. Okay. Who are you when it's just you and God? Who are you? Like outside of the
Ooh.
organization, outside of, outside of that, when it's just you and God, who are you?
I'm a flawed individual who is continually trying to be better each and every day than I was the day before.
Yeah. Same thing. Just striving to be better, work in progress. I'm a father, and yes, just daily, just wanting to do better. That's one of the conversations that I have with God a lot. You know, Lord, just keep building me and grow me. Show me what it is that you have for me next, and just mold me to be that man that I need to be.
I love that. I love that. So, what has this journey taught you about the value of life?
That it's funny you should ask me that, because when when your life flashed before your eyes,
Mhm.
when you hear that word cancer, it it makes you look at things totally different now. What's important, what you used to think was important, is not important anymore.
Mhm.
What you have time for, what you used to have time for, you don't have time for those things anymore. Even
Mm.
though I'm in this stage of this journey, I still don't have time for the things that I had time for before I was diagnosed, because I see how important and how fast, not important, but I see how fast your life can change.
Mhm.
And with just a simple phone call, it can be, that phone call can change and have a shift in your life that can make you pivot. You can go left or you can go right. And yeah, so that's what I would say. It is the way I look at life now. I value every second, every moment, and um, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just kind of like what he's saying. There's a saying that was never more evident until after I was diagnosed. It said it goes, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Mhm. Mhm.
And after that diagnosis, it was like the things that I thought were important didn't hold much weight.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I knew that it verified that we're on borrowed time. And
Mhm.
so I know that there's a lot that I want to see accomplished before that time runs out. So yeah, like you said, there's just no time for the things that I was doing before.
Okay. All right, let's see here. So I think you both pretty much hit on this. So if someone listening today is facing fear, uncertainty, a recent diagnosis, that what would you want them to hear from your heart? So say someone is like they're in fear, they're they have a recent diagnosis, they're uncertain. What would you want to tell them from your heart?
Everything's gonna be okay.
I love
Prostate cancer doesn't mean death,
it. Mhm.
especially if it's uh, caught early. And even if it's caught late, James and I know guys who, by the time they found out, it was outside of their prostate. So that's late to us. It doesn't mean that's the end. There's so much more life left. There's a lot of technology out here that's going to help you bounce back of being the man who you was before the diagnosis.
Mhm.
Um, but everything's going to be okay.
I love that.
Mm. Yeah. The main thing is don't stop being who you are
Mhm.
because you were diagnosed with prostate cancer or with any cancer. Cancer doesn't make us who we are. It's just a situation that we have to deal with in one way or another. But it doesn't stop us from being who we are.
Okay. All right. So let's see. If your doctor told you that you had 1 minute to speak to every husband, father, son, father, and friend in America, what would you want them to hear? I mean, I think y'all said it, but I'm like, let me bring this back because we about to close this out.
Go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. Get screened. This world is a much better place with you in it than not.
Okay. All right. So I got a quick lightning round. So we getting kind of away from our questions, okay? And I do want you to talk about the events that you all have coming up before we close out. But okay, so this is just one word answers, okay? Favorite comfort food. One word. I know. Favorite cookie.
Cookies.
I would say pineapples and watermelon.
I love it.
Yeah.
Favorite way to relax. One word.
Oh, one word.
Music.
Okay. Biggest inspiration.
My children.
Love that.
Kids.
Okay. All right. And one word that describes blue versus blue.
Awareness.
Dedicated.
I love it. Finish this sentence. Relationships are
Great.
Relationships are important.
Okay. I love it. All right. So let's see here. I know that we're getting a little bit low on time. Let's see here. Well, one question that I've been asking my guests is, what's in your relationship soup? And what do I mean by that? Because life is made up of different relationships and experiences. Family, faith, friendship, challenges, purpose, love, joy, loss, success, all of that, right? Growth. So if your life became one bowl of relationship soup, what ingredients would be in your soup?
Faith.
I love that.
Wisdom. Love. Peace.
Love it.
Yeah. I add respect, commitment, and James, you hit the other ones. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. All right. So I want to thank you too for sharing not only your mission, but your hearts. Now, I do want you to share your events coming up, and I'm going to put this in the thread as well, because I do have those flyers. So do y'all want to tell us about the events coming up?
Yeah. So the month of September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. And we made the decision to paint the month blue. And in doing that, each weekend we have an event planned. The first weekend is still being developed, but the second weekend, which is September the 12th, we are having our second annual Sapphire Soiree Gala as a fundraiser. And attached to that is our afternoon program, which will be a Zaddy style show. So if anybody is aware of what a Zaddy is, it's an older gentleman with a lot of style and flavor. So You can get the tickets on the website, again, at blueversusblue.org. And then the next weekend, we are having our community event, which is our Blue versus Blue car and bike show.
Okay. Awesome.
And you can come out. There's going to be nice cars, food, music, and just a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time out there. So we're looking forward to having you guys come out and support and have a good time. Because like I said, we know that the cars that are coming out are going to be dope. And so if you are a car person, even if you're not a car person, come on out, get some information. We'll have health vendors there for gentlemen who don't have insurance. There'll be some clinics there that can sign you up to get your testing done, and you don't have to have insurance to do that.
Awesome. 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 All right. So again, thank you both for coming out to share your mission. I did share the flyers while you were talking, but I will put this in our thread and I will share them on my page just to keep the word out there. And so just thank y'all so much. I really appreciate y'all. And I wish y'all love, light, blessings, and divine health moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right, boom. So you heard it here first. And I see your comments. I will bring those on. Let me go ahead and bring a few of your comments on now. Let's see here. So Tenali says faith over fear. Absolutely. Vernon, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Research, and believe in your choice. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so Tenali says life is a series of ebbs and flows that give us a higher sense of purpose and appreciate life. Gratitude attitude takes us to higher altitudes. Absolutely. Your thinking is absolutely everything. So tonight says, Jesus is unapologetic, my strength too, because when all else fails, I lean on the source, the creator of all things. Absolutely. Absolutely. Did I miss anything else? I think I got all of y'all in there. Let's see here. So tonight says, divine connections occur from unexpected circumstances with people who you never expected to be tethered to. There's always purpose in problems. Absolutely. Purpose in problems and purpose in pain, right? Although I wish that we could avoid the pain part, but something beautiful usually is birthed out of pain, right? So tonight's conversation reminds us that awareness begins with courage, okay? It begins with one conversation, one friendship, one family, and one decision to care enough to make a difference. And Blue versus Blue is showing that. It's helping to break the silence surrounding prostate cancer. It's encouraging men to take charge of their health and reminding families that no one should ever have to face life's challenges alone. So I just want to thank my guests today, Deon and James, for reminding us and raising awareness. And it truly is about building relationships. It's about offering hope, creating community, and leaving a legacy that has the power to save lives. This conversation will save lives. This conversation that we've had today, I'm so grateful for. It's going to save someone's life. I believe that. I'm speaking that, right? And to everyone listening, if tonight's conversation encouraged you, schedule a screening, whether it's for, prostate cancer, breast cancer. Screen yourself, right? Even, getting your colon looked at, right? And again, the disclaimer that I gave earlier, I still stand on. If you have any questions, concerns, or whatever, definitely hit up your healthcare provider, right? And, encourage those around you, whether it's your husband, your wife, your brother, your son. Encourage them, check on them, right? And so, I just feel like this episode has already made a difference, right? Because, again, it begins with a conversation, one relationship, one act of courage, right? So I just want to thank y'all so much. And you already know, let me go ahead and get my housekeeping in here so that I can get out of here, because y'all already know how it be on a Tuesday. Y'all know this be my long day and I'll be hungry by 8 o'clock. We hitting on 8 o'clock, but we're going to finish this episode out right. And let me see here. Let me see. Oh, let me do this before I get my housekeeping in, y'all, because Y'all know I believe in affirmations. I was just affirming my students earlier today, y'all. This was my last class for the summer. And one thing that, I spoke life to my students, and I love to send them affirmations. I just like to speak life over people, right? So let me go ahead and read this affirmation to you. I know this one's a little long, but I believe in speaking life. So let me go ahead, and this is a long one, so it's not going to really allow me to say it all, but I'm going to go ahead and read it anyway. So the affirmation I have today is: I choose faith over fear, wisdom over silence, and love over hesitation. Divine wisdom guides my steps, strengthens my relationships, and gives me the courage to encourage others. I'm a vessel of hope, healing, and purpose, and every conversation I have can become a blessing in someone's life. All right. And so it is. And so it is. I received that. And I hope that you receive that as well. All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and do my housekeeping so that I can get out of here and fill my belly. One of the things I like to do is fast, so I fast pretty regular. I usually only eat 1 meal a day, depending on what's going on. But anyway, y'all know that y'all should be liking, subscribing across all platforms. Relationship Soup, period. You should be following that on YouTube. Come and join the forum on Facebook. It's Relationship Soup Group. If you want to follow me, it's Relationship Soup LLC. And of course, y'all already know, hello, me. This is my 100-page affirmation picture book for children. Y'all need to get your hands on this. It's on Amazon, Kindle, Apple. I have paperback, hardback, ebook. It's no excuse. Bless a baby with the gift of speaking positive today, right? Because there's power in words. And even, you heard my guest today. There's internal conversations that they had to have with self. And mindset is everything. So start these babies. Hey, start the babies with that, right? Because life is going to come at them. We can't protect the babies from everything, but we can give them the tools and the seeds that they need, right? To thrive, to survive, to grow, to heal, all of that. So hello, me. And it's also available at the Children's Museum in Indianapolis as well, y'all. So y'all, thank y'all so much for everything. I think I got everybody's comments in here. Yes, Vernon. Amen. Right. Look, we having church on a Tuesday. Going up. No, let me quit. I receive it. Thank you so much, Sonality. I appreciate you. Let's see here. And I just want to give a shout out to everyone. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank y'all so much for, supporting the soup, believing in the soup. And y'all know that it starts with you. Everything starts with you. You must absolutely love yourself. You got to. Because if you ain't going to love yourself, if you're not going to speak positive to yourself, it got to start with you. You can't depend on everybody to do that. You might get those divine connections, but it's got to start with you. You got to love yourself. You got to speak positive to yourself so that you can not only give love, but receive it, right? To speak positive and to receive it, right? So that's all I have for y'all. And so until we meet next time, peace.